So it seems like not too long ago, Creed came out with Eladaria, and that's a fragrance that I own as well. But we also have Fragaria, and this is the newest release for the ladies, if I'm not mistaken. And of course, this is a strawberry-based perfume, which in my opinion is a little out of character from what Creed typically does. Now, Creed is a brand of which I am a huge fan. I love everything from Aventus to Millésime Imperial to Erolfa even, which is kind of under the radar, and Absolute Aventus, and Himalaya is also a great one. Silver Mountain Water is so iconic. Though there are many Creed fragrances that I have acquired over the past decade plus. I mean, this is an incredible brand and they can do no wrong in my eyes. I'm very satisfied with Creed fragrances, the smell, the performance, everything. And here we have one for the ladies. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. Historically, my favorite for the ladies has been Aqua Fiorentina. I just think there's catnip in there or something, or whatever the catnip equivalent for a grown man would be, because I never get bored smelling that fragrance. It is so magical. It's such a gem, and I love Aqua Fiorentina. And I know there was a rebranding and they changed the presentation a little bit, and so it doesn't have the colorful shoulders anymore, but it's still a beautiful fragrance. I think the formula has been untouched and unchanged. Here we have Fragaria. So we have strawberry, we have pink pepper, mandarin orange, there's vetiver in the dry down as well. And so it doesn't seem like there's going to be a strong floral emphasis on this one, as there has been in the past, especially with Eladaria. And, there were a couple others that are marketed as unisex, including Delphinus and Centaurus, which are part of the Amber universe. But anyway, this is the fragrance I'm going to be spotlighting today. And before I dive in, I just want to say that if you're a fan of perfume-related content, and if you love smelling your best, please hit subscribe, hit the bell, and give this video a thumbs up for the algorithm. It would truly, truly mean a lot to me. So when I think of strawberry, I'm going to be honest with you. There's a lot of perfumes that come to mind. I think of Burberry Her. I think of, believe it or not, Crybaby Perfume Milk by Melanie Martinez, which is discontinued now. I think of Strawberry Sensation by Okja. I think of Strawberry Letter by Fleur. There's a lot of different strawberry-based perfumes that I think about whenever the note of strawberry comes to mind. And the one thing that I can say is this one is very different from all of them, thank goodness, right? And I don't think necessarily that Creed was trying to position this as being like a strawberry-forward perfume. It's like, oh, this is our strawberry offering, because that's typically not something that I think explicitly said will appeal to a lot of consumers. And here's what I mean by that. I think if you tell somebody, oh yeah, this is our rose, or this is our oud, or this is our vanilla, like these are very common, very popular ingredients, especially within the perfume industry, depending on your cultural background and, level of experience. But for somebody to say, oh yeah, this is our strawberry, it's like, okay, cool, but strawberry is a fantasy note, So fig is one of those fantasy notes as well, where it's like, I think there's aldehyde C18 with fig, and there's aldehyde C16 with strawberry. So there's certain aldehydes and aroma molecules that contribute to the smell of a particular ingredient. But the way that this one is done is really interesting. It's really, really interesting. And it's so diametrically opposed, for example, to something like this. Oudzarian. I picked this one up in Miami. By the way, if you're interested in getting Fragaria, you can get this at incentivesperfume.com. It's going to be the first link down below. I did a little bit of research prior to shooting this video, and it turns out they have this one for a phenomenal price. Creed fragrances in general, please check out incentivesperfume.com. I don't remember if it's perfume or perfumes, if it's singular or plural, I'm not sure, but I'm gonna drop the correct link down below. Something like Oudzarian, for example, this is made by Cécile Zarokian, and she's also done several Amouage fragrances. She has done Nichane fragrances. She is a very, her olfactive offerings are very unapologetically bold. And so with Oudzarian off the atomizer, I don't know why, but it reminds me of Amen by Thierry Mugler. and then you spray it on, and it reminds me of Opus 14 Royal Tobacco by Amouage. Like, it's so dark, so daring, so confident, but also like very aggressive. It can be a very aggressive DNA. This one is very beautiful, but pretty at the same time. And it's interesting because usually I might find like a very floral, very soft fragrance to be pretty. And then I'll find like a very dominant floral, like a rose or something like that, or a tuberose. And I'll say, wow, this is beautiful. This is one of those fragrances that I think is both beautiful and pretty. And I rarely attribute those two adjectives to the same perfume. But in this case, I do, because there's some sustenance underneath with the vetiver. And, you know, I get a musky base as well. Unquestionably, there's something musky happening in here. And I'm going to be honest with you as well. I get something from this, and I didn't see it in the note breakdown, but I get something that is almost irisy, right? Like an iris, tuberose, and, you know, iris smells like lipstick. So for me, as I smelled it, I'm like, wait, there has to be some kind of iris in here. I didn't see it in the note breakdown. I could be wrong. Maybe I was looking at the wrong site, because I consulted the very popular online fragrance forum when, you know, picking out the notes for this one. But I personally get, or my nose gets, iris from this, because it has that sort of waxy, floral, lipsticky quality to it. And the strawberry is definitely in here, and I think the strawberry is so beautifully done. And I wouldn't necessarily say there's a photorealism to it. You know, I'm not going to say, wow, you should get this if you want like a very natural smelling strawberry. Like, no, I think that exists with some other perfumes, Strawberry Letter by Fleur being a classic example. But I would say, I think you should get this one if you're looking for something fruity, something a little floral, something a bit sweet, something with a brightness to it in the opening on account of the mandarin orange and the other citrus that's in here. But you're not necessarily looking for just one explicit olfactive profile to be expressed in the fragrance, right? Like, it has a lot of different things happening in here that are sort of coming together to produce the overall effect that you're going to find in Fragaria. So this is Creed's strawberry-based fragrance, and I love it. I think it's youthful. I think it's playful. I think it's also very confident as well. I think it conveys, hey, I'm here to have a good time. I'm here to not take life too seriously. You know, this is for the woman where, you know, maybe something comes up in her life and she's like, you know what, I'll get to that later. I don't have time to focus on that issue at the moment. For the woman who is not necessarily looking for, doesn't take things too seriously. You know what I mean? Like, things might happen in her life, but she's not going to drop everything she's doing just to tend to a particular matter. Maybe for the woman who knows that there's a time and place for everything. Also for the woman who is very outgoing, she's out and about, she loves to spend time with friends, and she's just a very cheerful person, you know, not for the stoic personality, but for somebody who's very upbeat, very cheerful. I think Fragaria is a very special perfume for that type of person. And I'm also going to say, you know, going back to it and smelling that creamy iris that I get. I know it's funny, I keep going back to it. It's not even in the notes, but it does remind me a little bit of Guilty Crush by Two. Just that creamy floral personality. So look, this one, in my opinion, is explicitly feminine, right? Like, same thing can be said about Eladaria, which is such a beautiful, beautiful perfume. I'll probably review that one next. And this one is just beautifully done as well. So I'm a big fan of this fragrance. And I certainly hope you have a chance to try this one soon, because if you haven't, I think you're going to love this one. I think if you want something more executive, more professional, I would go with Aventus for her. I think if you want something a bit more daring, I would go with Royal Princess Oud. I think if you want something that is very confident and outgoing, I would go with Queen of Silk. I think if you want something romantic, I would go with Carmina. I think if you want something unquestionably pretty, you're going to go with Eladaria. But I think if you want something fun, playful, and flirty, you're going to go with Fragaria. 7 hours longevity, projection a little beyond an arm's length for the first 45 minutes to 1 hour of application. I love that it does not explicitly smell or remind me of anything else I have in my collection. Well done, Creed. I love it. So, look, thank you so much for joining me today. I really hope that you took something of value from today's episode. And if you haven't tried this one, as I said before, I hope you can find the time in your busy schedule to go out there and try it at one of the many department stores that carries this brand. I think it should be available at Neiman Marcus, Bergdorf Goodman. You know, a lot of these big names, they do have Creed fragrances. So thank you for joining me. If you took anything of value from today's episode, or if you found this review of the perfume helpful in any capacity, I would truly appreciate it if you would consider supporting the channel by clicking subscribe, hitting the bell, and also giving this video a thumbs up for the algorithm. It would truly, truly mean a lot to me. So thank you again so much for joining me. I love you all, and we'll see you tomorrow with a new episode. Bye.